the beats and co illuminate your mind. Let the knowledge flow. Eat, sleep, and code. We're riding the tech wave. Oh, Net.js in this digital rave. So jump in the stream, it's the tech parade. Go, let your queries run through the circuits they roam. In a world where the data is the unsung hero, welcome to the stage, the Eat Sleep Code Show. Syntax tight, our semicolons in a row, with the AI beats and the database flow. Grab your gear, it's compiling, let's go. We're breaking walls in our virtual chateau. With every line we write, our universe will grow. Welcome to the grid where the brave dare to code. Eat, sleep, code, let the systems overload. Sending signals in the neon afterglow.
There we go. Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code. I'm Ed Charbonneau, and with me is John Bristow. How are you doing, John?
I'm good. Yeah, we're technical difficulties, I guess, this morning. That's okay.
Yeah, it's like you said earlier. When did you learn how to use a computer or something like that?
Yes.
It's like,
Have you been using computers long? Yes.
yeah, not long enough apparently, because nothing seems to be going right, dude. So this has been a trend with me for the last 2 days here, and I've about had it with any sort of technology at all. Like anything that plugs into an outlet doesn't have to be computers or AI related. It has to be just the most dead simple electronic device.
Right.
So I wake up, this kind of day I had yesterday. I wake up in the morning.
Do.
It snowed.
Do.
We don't know. Do we need sound effects? We've got let's see.
I'm just, it's that classic sort of like I woke up in the morning, do. I went to school, do. Anyways, go on.
All right. No heartbeat effects there. So I wake up, it snowed. So naturally, like we can't handle snow here where I live. So everything shuts down. And immediately I'm getting a call that my haircut appointment is canceled. Like, all right, strike one. I go to my espresso machine and I press the button and it cycles for like 2 seconds and then stops and won't make coffee at all. It just keeps ruining good coffee at 2-second intervals. I'm like, all right, I give up. I'm going to make tea. I press the tea kettle. I go sit down. I'm waiting to hear it beep. Never happens. I get up. It's stone cold. I press it again. I go sit down. Third time, I press it. I watch it. It starts to heat up. It shuts itself off. I'm like, oh, dude, you gotta be kidding me. Like, strike three. Go to the fridge.
Okay, Ed? These sound like real bad problems.
I go to the refrigerator. I press the little thing on the door to get a glass of water, and it fills my glass, and it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. It just keeps pouring water. The button's stuck. It is just pouring. I'm like,
your house is too smart.
I had to open the refrigerator door because it has like an interlock on it, so it won't dispense water if the door's open. So I just yanked the door open. Water's everywhere on the floor. I'm like, dude, what is going on?
You two can sponsor a person like Ed. Send your money now to help Ed, struggling with these hardware problems.
What the heck, though? It's like every appliance in my house is haunted this morning. It's like, what's going on? So it was a bad day. So technical problems, not a surprise here. Not a surprise at all. Not a surprise if you are Anthropic either, apparently.
No.
Should we bring up your screen, John, and start talking
sure.
about tech news?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
It is what the show's about, right? Not just
yes,
tech problems.
yes, absolutely. So it's been a pretty interesting week, to say the least. We've had a lot of interesting information and a lot of interesting announcements. And you may have noticed that there was this big sell-off in the market recently. So stocks adjusted to some of the recent announcements that Anthropic made. I'll talk about that in a second. But basically, a lot of investors, etc., are now seeing what's possible with products like Cowork, etc., which is a new product integration in Claude from Anthropic. But basically, the result of this has been that there's been a massive sell-off in stocks. Sorry, I got to go through all the ads here. But basically, there's this huge sort of sell-off occurring, and it's affecting a lot of businesses in the software space. I'm not completely sold on the fact that a lot of these SaaS companies, etc., excuse me, are doomed or anything like that. Far from it, but it definitely does. It's interesting because this is probably the first time I've seen Wall Street react to AI for the first time. Like, we've been talking about AI for how many years, and everyone on Wall Street has been like, yeah, whatever. This seems to be the first time that they've actually paid attention. What am I talking about? Well, recently, Claude Code has a set of 11 plugins, and this is a feature. This is what they're calling Cowork, which was announced earlier. And the idea behind Cowork is that these are plugins that will help you do a lot of knowledge work. So these are plugins for working with the typical sort of knowledge pieces or artifacts that you would come to know around that space. Things like Excel, integrations with a variety of other products as well. These 11 plugins now obviously offer some integration that you can use to help do your job. And the threat here that I think Wall Street was seeing on behalf of software companies is like, look, what's the value in a company like, say, I'm just spitting out names like ServiceNow, for example, if I have this capability. Now, the reality is that no one wants to replicate that kind of functionality in these things. But this is something that I thought was interesting and is topical and newsworthy, I think, because it's something that's happening in the background. Now, on the developer side, we recently had announcements like, for example, GPT 5.3 Codex, which is from OpenAI. And these and other capabilities are rapidly evolving. So we're seeing a lot of innovation in this space at the moment. And a lot of it is focusing around agents and agent tools. And there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the space. And I think skills are really the next place where a lot of this stuff will happen. I think that you'll see things like skills for individual platforms. There's a lot of talk around this. Anthropic was, of course, one of the innovators around skills itself. So they have this set of skills, which are basically like markdown files to help you integrate better with individual products. So this is their skills repository. They also have the skills, agentskills.io, which is a site for learning more about what agent skills are. These are platform agnostic markdown files that allow you to encapsulate functionality that you can then make composable architectures from. And this is something that I think is really interesting. Now, if you're wondering like what skills exist out there, Vercel shipped this, which is skills.sh, which basically allows you to search for available skills that are out there. And so these and other things I think are really interesting right now. These are, traditionally we've relied on agent.md, which is just like, give me the whole thing. Like, tell me everything about you so I can integrate with you better. Yeah. But now what we're seeing in this space is things like this. And so Cowork, those plugins, the way that this stuff kind of hangs together, these are the evolution of the direction in which we're going. And so if you're a developer and you're looking at, how can I better support a agentic world, these are some of the things, the building blocks that you can start today, skill files, agent.md files, etc., to help these agents better interface with your software. And this is something that I'm tracking a lot and I'm finding very interesting at the moment. It's been a lot of buzz around this.
It's funny because like, what people may not know is John and I do not work together. Like, we work for different companies. We're longtime friends. We used to work together a while back. We don't really talk very often besides the show. Like we're just on very different time zones. And we don't have a lot of catch up time except for right now live on the air. John, I have been following the exact same thing
Yes.
I have a lot of the same topics for this show today. One of those topics was to cover, like, what is the difference between an MCP server and a skill?
So an MCP server is it's for the Model Context Protocol. It's the protocol in which you talk to these endpoints, which will serve up things like resources, tools, things that will supplement context. Skills are a means by which you can inform your context with it basically informs an agent with, hey, if you're going to do X or Y, here's the best way to go about doing that. So they one does feed into the other. So MCP underpins skills that run inside a context, but context itself, you got to be careful about it because context is a fickle thing. It's like a souffle. If you fiddle with it too much, it can collapse. So you can get concepts like context rot, where you have old data that's informing the model and giving out weird answers, etc. You can also get context bloat, and that's where you're sending massive size context windows around. What you want to do is you want to do tasks in small order. You want to keep your context windows smaller because you'll get better results typically. And then if you need to, you can pass on to a new context window your work by summarizing the work that's come before, for example. So these are all things that complement each other. Skills and agent.md, those are ways in which you can provide I was going to say contextual information. It is literally contextual information for agentic workflows. So if you've got an agent, let's say you're running Copilot, you're running Claude, whatever, and you're utilizing chat or you're doing some work, and then you start asking questions like, hey, how can I best integrate with GitHub, for example? GitHub does have a set of skills that integrate with its that show you how to integrate with its API or with its CLI, for example. So if you're wanting to best figure out how to do a pull request, for example, or you're asking an agent to check out code, perform some changes, issue a pull request, and then update a form, etc. Those are going to leverage aspects of those skills that are encoded in those markdown files.
Yeah. So there's a couple different categories of things that you should keep in mind if you're working with AI tools, and that is, like John just explained, skills, MCPs. You've also got you've got plugins. So
yes. Those are going to run inside the context of context of the agent itself. So Claude has plugins, Copilot has plugins.
There's quite a few different things, and they're easy to get mixed up with one another because they don't on their own they sound very similar, right?
Yes.
The title of what each thing is sounds very similar. The functionality, the end result might seem similar as well, but the method in which it's operating is different. So MCPs are external systems that you're interacting with that bring context in. So you're connecting to an external database or a service that's running somewhere else and getting information from it. It could be structured data, it could be unstructured data, it could be deterministic, it could be other agents, but it's outside of the model that you're working with, or the Copilot or the Claude or whatever it is.
And they're agent agnostic as well.
Mm-hmm. Skills generally happen within, or do happen within the context of that system.
This is a repo that was sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
And then plugins is a little bit of a loose term. I think there's a couple different definitions for it, but plugins can also mean a collection of tools. So it can be a collection of tool calls that the model can make, which is very similar to an MCP, but it's a collection of tools that may or may not be MCPs, can be called plugins as well. I
was going to highlight this repo here. This is one that I came across earlier this week called Superpowers. I know that sometimes I discover these things. I'm like, oh, this is like awesome. And then like I look at like the amount of stars and it's like, clearly I haven't seen this.
I discovered it. I swear.
That's right. Basically Superpowers, as it says here, is just, it's a way of building these skills in a composable manner. And so the motivation here, how it works. It starts from the moment you start up your coding agent. I love the way this starts. As soon as it sees you're building something, it doesn't just jump into writing code. Instead, it steps back and asks, what are you really trying to do? And once it sees out a spec in the conversation, shows you chunks just short enough to actually read and digest. But once you've signed off, your agent puts together implementation, blah, blah, blah. You can implement blue-green or red-green rather, test-driven development, YAGNI, dry, etc. Next up, you say go. There's a bunch more to it, but that's the core of the system basically. So Superpowers is this again a plugin that you can integrate with, for example, Claude Code, for example, also Codex if you're utilizing Codex, OpenCode, which I'm a huge fan of as well. These and other sorts of ways in which you can do this, and then here's the workflow that it utilizes. Now it does provide these skills in a form of a library, which is kind of cool. So they have, if you're doing anything around development, it does have a lot of skills there. So you have collaboration skills, you have meta skills for writing, you have philosophy as a category, but testing, debugging, etc. So red, green, refactor as part of that. And what this will do is help tease out that as your process. And so this was a repo that I had walked upon and didn't realize existed actually. So yeah, Superpower is another one there. But it does raise an interesting question, like what impact is this going to have on your workflow? What impact at a larger scale in terms of, software does it have, etc. I think this is all complementary to the way in which we do things. So, God, look at the ads. The way in which we do things is going to be complementary. I don't know why Reuters needs so many ads. Anyways, so yeah, there's a massive sell-off, which you might wonder why. This is part of that. Is the sort of response to what was being shown through Cowork, etc. by Anthropic.
Yeah, the sell-off is interesting because I think a lot of people feel like there's a bubble waiting to pop.
You think
so? It's hard to tell. I don't have a crystal ball on it. I think there's probably things that will come and go. There's definitely a lot of creative destruction happening.
Yep.
So we will see over time whether it's going to be a big crash and burn like we saw with the .NET com bubble or the .com bubble, .NET com, the .com bubble back in the day. That's yet to be seen. I think if I had a definite answer on that, I would be an investor and I wouldn't be sitting here podcasting with you, John.
Yeah, fair. Now, what's interesting about this, Ed, I don't know if you saw this, but Vercel did some testing and they compared Agents.md with Skills, and they found that Agents.md actually outperforms Skills in their evals.
Of course it does.
What are you laughing? Huh?
Because none of this stuff works the way we intended to the first time.
Well, the thing that I think the problem I had with this was there was a variable here which was not the test matrix itself, but the way in which, because remember, skills are loaded by the agent. So you have to have an algorithm within your agent that is proactive for loading context with skills. Agents is like, give me everything, basically. So load the entire context window up with everything I need to possibly know. So there's, in a way, you can understand why Agents.md won out in this test. But I think this is a flawed test. This is just I didn't read, I tried to get some more information about this, but I didn't see everything. But what they found was that it's the issue is down here. They were basically doing a test, and they basically said, like, there's two approaches when testing. There's two approaches towards utilizing agents in this context. So you can load up skills, and skills are loaded pretty much on demand, basically. So the way it is, and the reason why is because it keeps your context windows small. But the alternative is you've got Agents.md, which is basically like it's like everything that you want in terms of context. And so they initially set out by saying, hey, we're assuming that skills are going to win out. But when they did their evaluation, they found that based on their test, they were finding, sorry if this is not clear enough here, but based on their tests, they were finding that with no baseline, meaning no docs, etc., pass rate for them, they defined a set of tests, obviously ahead of time, was 53%. Their pass rate versus their default behavior, which is via skill, no improvement, like 53%. Then they decided to provide explicit instructions, and they found that with explicit instructions, with skills, it improved by 26%. Now, when they did this against... and there's various responses to this. But when they did this, compared this to agents.md, they found that it achieved 100% compliance with their expectations, and that's what they were finding. So basically, they're saying that, you know, it really depends on how you're loading these up. Context matters. They do talk about using skills with nudge, which is you know, part of the interesting part here as part of that. But the pass rate here is like agents.md did the best in this. You know, so yeah, just interesting to see that. I think skills are going to win out, if you ask me.
Yep.
I think that you know, that makes a lot more sense from an architectural perspective, because you know, you don't want to bloat your context window, I think. But regardless,
no, I agree, and I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why I laughed as well. So these, I was working with this stuff before tool calling was a thing. And
before it was cool, here we go.
What happens with any technology, but this one, as rapidly as it's moving, it's like we have, like, it's kind of like, reminds me of the JavaScript ecosystem a few years ago. Like, there's a new thing every week, makes the old thing seem like it's obsolete when it's really not, and it works just fine. So, you know, skills has been the hot topic of the last, you know, iteration
month
here
or so.
Yeah. But the other agent.markdown type thing, it's different in every AI implementation, by the way. It's named something else in everything you look at. Like Copilot is like Copilot instructions.md. And then if you're in Visual Studio, it's something else. It's in Visual Studio Code, it's something different. But anyhow, that's been around a while. So it doesn't surprise me that the agents are using those files more efficiently, because it's more of a standard than the skills are at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, as that evolution changes, I'm sure that all of the companies that make these are going to jump on the skill bandwagon, and the code that implements those skills and the model training that implements those skills will be better. So over time, it will get better. But I also laughed a little bit because I'm working on a course right now about how large language models call tools and how unpredictable that can be. So in the exercise I'm currently working on writing, one of the things that you may or may not know about these models is there's no definite way to tell if it's going to call a tool or not. So you can ask the model a question. You can put something into context. It might cause it to call a tool. It might not. You can explicitly ask it to call a tool. It should, but it doesn't mean it's definitely going to do it. And I'll give you some examples. You can write a tool call for your model that gets the weather. And you can have a second tool that it calls to get cities. And then starting from a blank slate, no real system prompt, you can ask it, what is the weather? And because you don't have a city in context already, it can do one of many things. It might not call any tools. It might just say, I don't know what city you want to talk, you want weather for. So why don't you tell me what city you'd like to know what the weather for, and then I'll tell you. Another thing that it might do is just hallucinate some cities for you. And when I say hallucinate, it doesn't mean they're going to be fake cities. It's just going to pick random cities out of its training. So it might say, the weather in London and Detroit is this weather, and then call the tool to get the weather for them. It might pick 2 cities, it might pick 5, it might pick 1. So it might call the tool 10 times, might call it once. You never know. Like, none of these things are anything that we can determine. It's so non-deterministic, it's crazy. Like, so the model or the prompts that we write help ground how often those tools get called. So you might put it in your prompt that if the user doesn't specify a city, then then don't give them one, or default to this city or something like that. But by default, there is no, like, this is not Boolean logic that's just going to run. And you can say, all right, I know this tool is going to run once, and I can write a test for it, and I could test the output. So that's fun to work with.
The other one that we mentioned last week, of course, is well, I think I talked about this on another show. Was Open, yeah, it was Moltbot, and it's now been renamed as OpenClaw. This is, by the way, one of the reasons why you can't find a Mac Mini to buy anywhere. They've all been bought out, and they're being used to run these workloads basically in people's homes. So OpenClaw is basically based on OpenClaw is based on a Claude, and it's basically running an implementation on your local infra and doing work. And a lot of people gravitated towards this because of its integration. This was the first thing that I noticed that was a bit scary to me, was that there's a bit of a security nightmare going on here. But people are doing this. People are betting on Polymarket with this thing. People are doing massive runs. And, you know, you got to be careful about what you read online. People are like, I made 100 million in like 1 hour or something. Like, no, it's like, you know, it's not that. But, you know, people are making wild claims about utilizing these systems.
It's funny. Last week after the show, John, I got 2 messages. First message was, and the first message wasn't directed at me. It was just like a news notification. It was like, Moltbot is no longer a Moltbot. It's OpenClaw. It was like 5 seconds after we stopped streaming. And then the next one was from our security department here at work. And they're like, do not install OpenClaw under any circumstances on a work device. This is against company policy. Do not do this.
Yeah. So it is interesting. I mean, like Peter, the guy who wrote this, you know, he's talked openly about how he just did this to kind of solve a problem, and that he's just tinkering and throwing it out there. But, you know, it's getting picked up everywhere. Scott Hanselman was on, I think it was CBS or ABC News, talking about this. And there's it's just blown up basically everywhere, and it is interesting. But, you know, this is the end user. And I'm more interested in how things work underneath the covers. So I'm more interested in the skills and those aspects of it to get a better understanding of what's happening there. But this is a fast-moving space, and I think that a lot of people will naturally gravitate to the position of, yeah, whatever, I'll start using it when I feel like it's reached its peak or it's starting to get real. I think that moment is now. I think the moment that we've been talking about AI for years on this show. And we started off talking about GPT, and then we started talking about Open AI, etc. We've talked about this, and GPT was the default, and then Claude hit. So we've been talking about this for a while, but now I think we're starting to see applications, and we're starting to see the way in which developers can leverage these things. And it's pushing, in DevOps, we have this concept called shift left, which is this idea of pushing more of your developer workflow down the chain where value is being added, basically. I think that this is a movement towards back towards the human side of things, which is what we want. Basically, we want humans to feel empowered with software. And this is definitely something that I think a lot of folks are taking advantage of.
Yeah. All right, John. I've got some things to share if you are done, my friend.
I am. Sorry. That's my diatribe for the week.
So I'm going to continue with my deep dive rant on tool calling and why. And I know this is a beautiful screen to share on stream.
Oh, here we go.
This is the wizard behind the curtain. Yes. So
the sausage being made.
I should bring up the video of what this looks like in the application when it's failing. So this is a error stream from Visual Studio's implementation of Copilot.
Okay.
And went on my little tirade about how tool calling happens, because not only am I teaching subjects on it, but I am living the nightmare. And one of the things that I've been dealing with is we've been testing MCPs for several months here at Progress, and we have them for everything. Like we have them for coding assistants. Fiddler has a really cool one. I did a stream about that on Tuesday with Daniel Roth from the .NET team.
Yep.
Showed him the coding agent that we have, the Fiddler MCP that we have. So they're two very different styles of MCP. The first one, the coding agent, will help you build pages, web pages, using whatever flavor of Progress UI that you're using. So like Blazor, Telerik UI for Blazor, Kendo UI for React or Angular, that type of thing. And I've been testing those in various editors. Well, started getting some strange findings with Visual Studio. And, you know, with our page builder, or we call it the Agentic UI generator. And what it does, it can generate code for UI components or entire pages, or help you scaffold applications with a bunch of UI.
Yep.
So I put a pretty complex prompt in, expecting a certain output. And again, it's non-deterministic, so it's not going to be the same page every time that I'm asking it for, but I was asking it to build a like a real estate shopping style application, like a Zillow type of a thing.
Right.
Pretty complex prompt that defined like what I want the sidebar to look like, what I want the result window to look like, etc. And then
use Telerik controls for this, by the way.
Yeah, you don't even have to specify that. If the MCP is enabled, it should pick it up out of context. Yes. So that was the test. Like, will it build this page properly? And in Visual Studio Code, knocks it out of the park. Like, looks fantastic. No errors, looks great. Do the same thing in Visual Studio. I've got runtime errors, I've got compile time errors. And I'm like, all right, I know our tooling is sound. Something else is afoot here, and I cannot figure out what it is. And it took hours to figure this out, John, because first of all, we're dealing with a non-deterministic system, but we're also dealing with a lot of moving pieces. And
so did you figure out what happened?
Yeah, this is a long process. It is an intermittent problem. So again, that didn't help. So what I ended up finding out, and this happened through lots of video recording. I looked back at one of my recordings, like, why did this fail? And I'm watching the chain of calls that it's making. And it calls to the Telerik Agentic generator. And it's like, I need to get some info about these components, and the little spinners come up, and there's, you know, several tool calls. So it's like 5 spinners are spinning, and this thing just starts spitting out code, and it's running past, it's like, it's, you know, telling me a bunch of stuff that it's working on. And I'm like, those spinners never stopped spinning. Those tool calls never completed. So it asked the tool, but so it never waited.
Yeah.
It never waited for a response. It just kept going. So what's happening in here is there is an exception that's being hit behind the scenes. And when it hits that exception, the Copilot is not aware of this error, and somehow it bypasses the tool call. So there's a big thread on all of this where people were chiming in with their logs of everything happening. So it's a common issue that is on the Visual Studio help portal.
Forums.
Yep.
Yes.
And it is in a pending release mode now. So
Doesn't
you have
surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, like it's up to your agent that's going to be doing the right thing in terms of this. So
yeah, but unfortunate for us, and that's why I'm bringing it up on show here, is this looks like an us problem. It doesn't look like a Visual Studio problem when it's happening. It's like, okay, I enabled this thing that you told me is going to build the perfect web page, and it's not working because Copilot seems to be unaware of the error, or at least it's not handling the error correctly. So it just bypasses it. It doesn't come back and say, hey, this tool didn't, you know, it wasn't called for whatever reason. It's just swallowing exceptions and moving on. And it completes the task and acts as if it did what it was supposed to do. And then I even asked it at the end, I was like, did you call these tools? And it's like, yes, I did. By the way, there was no response.
Yes.
It's like, but you didn't tell me that in the process of building the page, nor did you after. I had to ask you directly
Yes.
if it was called or not. So yeah, we have an issue now where we have all these MCPs that work with Visual Studio, and none of them may work as intended because of Visual Studio.
Well, it
And
comes back to the algo. The algo's got to be, it's got to be correct in its loading, etc. So in
Yeah.
that instance, I would blame the algo.
yeah, but the bad part is customers don't know that. They're just using the thing and it doesn't tell them. There's no feedback. And my first assumption as a user would be, all right, this thing I just bought doesn't work. So yeah, we're in a mode of trying to alert people
Yes.
and put the proper knowledge in place for known issues and whatnot.
Comes back to that saying, that got popular a couple of years ago after the TV series Chernobyl came out. Trust but verify. You must trust but verify your agent's output.
It's funny you mentioned Chernobyl. I just got done reading a headline that said that for some reason that has been shooting up in popularity again. I don't know what triggered it, but they're saying like they're getting like a resurgence of that going viral, people
That's a good
watching it.
series.
It's a great
Yeah.
series. I've watched it twice. I watched it once. My wife didn't see it, and then I was like, you know what, you might actually like this, and she sat down, watched it, and thought it was great. I was going to talk about the Microsoft Agent Skills repository,
Yeah, I had this up on the screen before, but yeah, let's do it.
but I don't know how much we want to go into this again, but
Oh,
you,
come
you
on.
talked about
It's
skills
fun.
pretty much in depth. I would check out the repo if you
Yes.
are more interested. There's
Yeah, this is just basically a summary of skills that integrate with GitHub. So if you want to
Mhm.
talk to the API, there's also a folder for the CLI as well. There's lots of stuff there. It's I think it's awesome. GitHub is the repo name, I think.
this one's Microsoft/skills.
Oh, okay.
And
Yes, sorry. This
then-
one may cover other things as well. Sorry.
It does, and then there's a skill catalog. I think is more what you were talking about. That has 132 skills for different things, different programming languages. We got .NET, Python, and TypeScript, and some Java in there as well.
Yep.
There's some core skills. Podcast generation. Okay, that's a cool one. We're gonna have to put that on the to-do list. So that's going in my to-do list because it segues into the next thing. They updated the Microsoft updated the Vibe voice model. Have you heard about this one?
No.
No, you're laughing.
Well, it just
It's the name.
the name makes me think like I'm talking to my machine and I'm vibe coding, or I don't know what this is. Tell me what this is.
So it has nothing to do with vibe coding. I thought the
Okay.
same thing, but no, it does not. This is actually really a cool model. So the specialization of this model is to create podcasts. So you feed it a prompt,
Yes.
and then it does speech to text to speech and speech
Yeah,
to
11
text.
Labs does this.
Yeah, this one is for producing long form audio.
Hmm.
So it will like switch between speakers, create different inflections,
Yes.
all of those sorts of things. And 11 Labs does have
this.
yeah,
does do
additional
this, and it's
tool.
excellent. 11
Mhm.
Labs is the best solution I've seen for this so far, but I haven't heard of
It
this.
is. This one is available on Hugging Face. So 11 Labs is absolutely fantastic. You are right. It is a hosted solution. You cannot run it yourself. I don't think you can run any of the models from 11 Labs
If you
locally.
get your hands on a Mac Mini.
Yeah. So
I love the
this
fact that
is-
Mac Minis are like selling out because people are just running these workloads on their own machines. That's hilarious to me.
But this is one of the ones that you can run on your own if you so are
I like this.
inclined.
Nice. Yeah.
So it's up on Hugging Face. They have a live playground too.
Yep.
I haven't tried. I think this one lets you. Yeah, this one will let you like play with it live in the browser and get audio from it.
Yeah.
So there's the Vibe Voice. That one's really cool if you're
Nice.
trying to do like a podcasty thing.
You know, we're gonna have to start another vibe thing around can it play Doom, but something for AI. I'm just spitballing here, but we'll have to
Can it vibe code?
Yeah, can it vibe code, or like I have to get emotional about it, just like I am emotional about anything related to AR VR. When you bring up the hugging my face in terms of like a VR headset, I get pretty angry.
And then this one I brought on the show for beginners, maybe a little late in the episode here to talk about beginner stuff. We've probably lost those folks by now.
Yes.
But if you are like a beginner for AI application development, this is a really great article I found up on bytego.com. That's what it was. Bytego. And it's an effective guide to prompt engineering. And it talks about like what makes a good prompt. There's some good reminders and tips in here for those who have done it before, and then good info for people who haven't. It's like start with a good task description, give some examples of what you want it to do, tell it what the tasks are. And there's some really good examples of what all of prompt engineering is about. System
a lot of this
prompts,
is getting blown up with
prompts.
skills. If you think about it, I mean, you don't have to really think too much about prompts as much as you had to back in, say, 2025, 2024, etc. than, say, with skills, for example.
Yeah. How models process them, the different types, like one shot, few shot, chain of thought, prompting, role prompting, which is a fun one, like act as a teacher, act as whatever. Chaining and decomposition. It gets pretty deep. It goes a little bit beyond basics in here, but there's like common pitfalls, being too vague, being overcomplicated. It's a good read if you are new into that. So that was the Byte newsletter.
Yep.
I've got some similar content in my my video course on Dome Train. So if you get a Dome Train, if you're a .NET developer and you want to learn more about prompts and how they work with .NET code, that would be an excellent resource as well. So the Dome Train AI Beginners course. And then if you are looking to learn more about agents, this is one I missed last week, John. You're going to like this one. I've got a lot of GitHub today. This is by a good friend of mine, Guy Royce. Guy Royce does a lot of speaking. He's an international speaker.
Yes.
He does a lot of workshops, and he has a knack for creating content that resonates with developers. And this one is a Zork-inspired multi-agent, multi-channel system using LangGraph.js.
Time out. We should explain what Zork is.
Oh no, are we that old?
Yes. Or our audience is so young. So Zork is a text-based dungeon game, basically. So the idea is back in the 80s, when graphics it was mostly text-based, the games that you would have. This was basically it was like playing D&D, but with your computer. And you got a visual. You didn't get any visual. You just got text output of what happened. And so Zork was a very popular game series. There was Zork 1, 2, 3, etc. It kickstarted this sort of evolution in gaming because before that it was like Pong and stuff, but people wanted to have adventures, etc. So Zork is the premise of that. And the reason why I laugh is because it's completely text based.
Yeah. This is a pretty I'll use a pun here. This is a pretty adventurous workshop. So it uses quite a few tech stacks in here. We've got Azure Static Web Apps, Azure Functions, Managed Redis, and OpenAI. And it's got the Redis workflow state management system built into it. Guy works for Redis, so there's definitely going to be some Redis in here.
Yes.
And it's a full-fledged system. Yep. Like it's
look at that.
It's not for the faint of heart, but knowing Guy, it's written into nice, meaningful steps that you can follow along and learn a lot of things. So,
Mm.
Guy's a great teacher. I'm going to try to have him on the show. I think you're going to be traveling next week, John. I'm going to reach out to
Yes.
Guy and see if he's available. He
Awesome.
said he was down for it, but I didn't give him a schedule yet. So let's see if we can get him on next week to just chit chat about whatnot and see if he wants to talk news or if he's got something cool that he's working on that he wants to
We
share.
could just talk to him about this. You
maybe
know,
he
if
can
I'm able to
demo it a
jump
little
on,
bit.
we could just talk to him about this if I'm able to jump on. I would love to ask him some questions of what he thinks about what's happening in the space as well.
Yeah, this is really cool stuff. So check out Guy on GitHub. So it's Guy Royse with a Y, GUYROYSE on GitHub. Make sure you give him a star there and fork the repo. And then finally, Vercel had a big post, the new V0. So I guess they added a bunch of AI technology over the last year, and they're kind of like rebasing on all of that AI stuff and making it more of a coherent SDLC. So I think that's what it is. Their problem statement up front I thought was fun and something I wanted to talk about on the show. So it's talking about the limitations of vibe coding. And like the first one is vibe coding is now the world's largest IT shadow problem.
Yes.
AI-enabled software.
Yeah, we've written about this at Octopus.
Happening in the enterprise.
Yes.
So basically what this will sum this up is that they've handed normies software developer tools that makes them super dangerous. Like you put tools in regular people's hands where they can write apps. So that's problem one. The other one is, the demos that you generate aren't necessarily production ready. And then the old software development cycle is overloaded with dead ends. Again, I think this all comes back to like we put tools in people's hands, right?
Yeah.
We gave them all foot guns.
I know. I do like the name, like introducing the new V0. We're starting from scratch, essentially, and the world will be agent based, essentially, is I think the premise of this article, if I'm understanding this correctly.
Yeah. This whole post at the start reminds me of an old technology. While I do realize there are some key differences, I am going to say this reminds me of when Microsoft released Access.
Okay.
Does it not? Like the problem statement here is very similar. Like we have this tool, we're going to put it in the Office suite. And
you mean Power Builder maybe or something
anybody that has Office can write a database application.
Yeah.
And they could put a UI on it, and they can do it with no coding skills. And
I think the analogy would be, I think Access, I get what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Forms over data.
Well, here's the thing.
Totally.
It was a huge IT shadow problem. We had employees that are shipping software with all of these problems. It doesn't scale. Makes a great demo, but the prototype is great, but it's not anything I can deploy to production. A lot of the same problems. They happen in a much different way. I get that.
Yes.
They can be fixed in a much different way. I get that too. But like the initial problem statement sounds very similar to me. And we had so many of these Access applications spring up where I was working that I made a career out of fixing them and making real applications out of them. And it was like putting food on the table for years. And like, I remember one very specifically that somebody from a manufacturing line wrote. And they're like, we have this app that we use. And I'm talking like, these are Microsoft Access database applications, if you want to call them apps, that people are writing and they are running a business off of. Okay. So we have a production floor that is running off of this app. People are entering data in it. They're getting reports from it. and they're like, we need to scale this, and it's definitely not ready. So I go down to the factory and I do a visit, and I'm like, show me the app. The guy pulls it up, and I'm greeted with this giant American flag. Okay. And the American flag is made of a table, and inside of the area where the stars would be, it's a blue field with little gray squares. Each one of those little gray squares is the main menu, and they represent a star on the flag.
All right.
There's no button text.
Was there a MIDI file playing in the background?
There is no hover text. There is no instructions. It is a literal American flag with buttons for stars that you're supposed to click on to go to features in the application.
Perfect.
It was a sight to see.
Yes.
And it's like, well, 3 stars from the left. If you click on that one, that's where you go enter your production for the day. It's like, oh, good to know. Glad we get some user experience going on here with the 3 stars to the left. So yeah, I had to take that and turn it into a real application. So anyhow, I got off on an old man
V0
rant.
sounds interesting. V0 does sound interesting. I mean, I'll have to research this. I haven't looked into this yet, but it certainly seems like Vercel's taking a stab at supporting folks who want to start building.
Yeah, so they've kind of retooled this, put it GitHub integration, so as version control. That was another issue with tools of years gone by. My old timey days, the Axis applications didn't have any sort of version control.
You just need some pots and pans clanging off your laptop there, So
I think one of the things we've kind of done with this, though, and the analogy still works. It doesn't have to be Microsoft Access, but this is ye old low code. It's low code with a different spin. This time it's large language models providing the code rather than, canned pieces of, building blocks that we plug together to pretend like we're not coding anymore. So you could tell I'm a huge fan of the low code systems, right? Those also put food on the table, because the same problem statement, like we put tools in the hands of non-developers, and now we have a mess. It's like, all right, now with low code we have not only the mess the person made, but now I have a framework that I have to learn to fix the code that the low code system operates in, that I have to learn on top of the coding.
I hear you.
And on top of the problem statement. But the Vercel thing, I'm sure, won't have all of those same problems.
Well, Vercel prides itself on providing tools like this, right? This is the space they're in.
And I've heard very good things about them, by the way. I'm not bashing Vercel. Like, I have actually heard, like, people that use it very much enjoy using it. So I'm not dunking on Vercel.
No.
I'm dunking on the old stuff from back in the day that caused me headaches and stuff. But this actually does look cool. I will have to look at some videos or something. I don't know if I have time to try it myself. But
look, and I think you're absolutely right in basically making that observation, because as we know, history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. And it seems to me like this feels a bit like history rhyming. So
yeah, but it does look cool at the same time. Wish them luck. Like I said, the Vercel community seems to be a pretty happy one from what I've seen. So good for them. That I think is speaking of community, we'll give one last shout here. I'll pull my screen down and we'll throw the banner up. We are working on some community activities, and if I can find the right banner, I'll put it up. Where did it go?
Like and subscribe.
There we go. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, folks. We have a Discord channel that we started a few months ago, and we are trying to foster some more discussion in there. So if there's something you saw on the show that you liked or disliked or want to just talk about, Jump into Discord. Post if you're an angry person who's mad because you thought I was making fun of Vercel and I wasn't. Stop by Discord. Tell me. Come chat with us.
I'm sure you'll get some replies.
Yeah, that we got. No, we have
that URL, dude. That's an ugly URL. Get a short URL.
It's what Discord makes. I don't know.
No, just create a shortened one. That makes it easier.
Don't we have like AI to take care of this problem for us now? If you take I think it's Control-Shift-S on Windows. There's like a little thing that'll say like grab the text from the image. Like it's a solved problem.
Okay.
But yeah, come tell me in Discord how you used the link, how you clicked it, even though it's not a clickable link. You do that. Make that your your reason for coming into Discord to talk. There's lots of good reasons to come in there. We got folks in there from all different parts of development. We got JavaScript folks. We've got AI people, not AI people, but people that do AI. AI people, that sounds weird. .NET devs in there, JavaScript front end frameworks, all that stuff. We're in there chatting about it and sharing projects and whatnot. So stop by, say hello, and
yes.
We will see you next week. That's all I've got, John. Any
part of it? I'll see if I can jump on the stream. I don't know. I'll be in Europe, but if the time zone works out, I would love to join in from the hotel room.
Listen to you being fancy. You hold up your pinky while you say, "I'll be in Europe."
Oh, it's my index finger. I'm finger wagging at you, so I'll try.
I'll be in Europe, folks, on my European trip.
Okay, fine. Make fun of me. I don't care.
I'm just teasing. I'm jealous. I wish I was going to Europe.
Whatever.
It's nice.
All right.
It's cold here, John. I don't know what this is in Celsius, but in Fahrenheit, it is literally 7 degrees right now. And I have
that is cool.
Out of camera sight, I have a heater sitting next to me because my office is nowhere near the heat. And I stole my daughter's heater. She's at work. And I placed it right next to my seat. So maybe a trip to Europe would be nice right about now. Maybe I'm a little jealous.
Okay.
Just a little.
All right.
And I got a lot of friends there. So
awesome.
We'll see you next week, and we'll talk to
folks.
John from Europe.
We'll
Bye, guys.